Hello everyone, my name's Happy097 and today we're going to be talking about Arcane Custom Minifigures for LEGO, obviously. I don't really do much of anything else nowadays. I used to call myself the story guy. I never lost the stories, I just lost the ability to make them. Because I didn't learn my lesson from the last time I did a video like this, we're once again going into this unscripted. I do have an outline here of what I'm supposed to talk about, so at least I'll be sort of scheduled, but that's not going to stop me from going off on tangents like I just did at the beginning of this video. But maybe if I talk fast enough, it'll make it seem like I can actually do stuff. Anyways, Arcane Lego Minifigures. Look at that. Wow, what a wonderful transition. I'm truly amazing. I've been watching too much Mr. Pancake. This series is something that I've been running along on TikTok for a long while, and fun fact, even though you would have been able to see most of these minifigures early on TikTok, this is going to be the world premiere of some of the special ones that still haven't yet made it onto TikTok. That's because I don't schedule or plan these things out, I just do them. Let's actually get into the minifigure, shall we? As you can see, I've listed too many to collect because I did not count these beforehand. So we're going to be going through them one at a time, you know? Number 1, we've got Jinx. Now, obviously, as you can see here, this is an old render that I really should have updated before doing this because I did give her arm printing with the tattoos. A lot of the early figures, I didn't give them arm printing purely because I didn't want to. And as time goes on, I later fixed that issue. But it's a problem here, and you can see why. Looking at the actual design, though, I think I did a fairly nice job. I actually can compare this to, like, one other thing, which is, Firestar Toys also did a version of Jinx and Vi, and we'll get to Vi when we actually get to Vi. Right, you should see it on screen. This is their version of Jinx. We can compare that to my version. Now, I personally like my version more, but I'd like to know down in the comments, which version do you think is better? My version of Jinx or their version of Jinx? Or, if we really want to get cursed, this random off-brand one that my sister got me. Actually, no, it was my brother. My brother got me. Yeah, this thing is cursed. I also definitely don't like that the entire base color for this entire figure, aside from the hair, is skin tone. Doesn't exactly feel good, does it? No, it is quite weird. That and also the hair sucks. Look at this. This is abysmal. Can't even bend the legs backwards. Let's go to Echo. Now, I actually did make an updated render for this one because the original head he had in all the renders that you're going to see on screen now was low pixelated. And there are still some of the figures here that have low pixel heads. I didn't bother to go back and fix all of them. But as you can see here, this is Echo. Once again, this is one of those, well, I probably should have gave him arm printing, but I didn't. But overall, I still think the minifigure works very well. It was a pain to get the legs to line up with the hips. I spent so long going back and forth with that. Also, if we're at this point in the video and you see me turning my head to look to the side, that's because this is where I keep my renders of the figure, so I know who I'm talking about at any given point in time. So if I'm looking over here, that's why. It's because I'm looking at my reference. Alright, next up we have Jace. Funnily enough, this was actually the last of all the Jace variants that I made, which is made even funnier by the fact that, it's the first version that you'd be introduced to. This is supposed to be the default. It was the last one I did. And it's also the only one that I managed to remember to include that eyebrow notch. I'm not very smart. Jace did get arm printing because, again, this was, later on into the production process where I'm actually like, I should probably include arm printing for these characters. It also led me to have to go back and update Survivor Jace because he still has, the pauldron on one of his arms, and I needed to go back and add that. I do really like how it came out, though, and I also really like how I ended up doing the pauldron, especially with the logo for the, Talus house symbol or whatever. I think that came out very well. I did consider making some of the other variations of Jace, too, like his Tinkerer outfit, or... Ultimately, I decided against doing that purely because I was like, this is already going to be taking up enough time as it is. I don't need to bother with the other stuff, too. Now, moving on to Vi. I know, it took way too long to get to Vi. I don't care. Vi does not have side leg printing because I'm lazy and I didn't want to do it. I reached the side leg printing part and I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't have to do this. I can do what I want. You can't make me do anything. And so I didn't do it. I also really like how using the hoodie piece, makes the whole piece feel. I didn't keep it for all the renders, but it is something that I think helps elevate the entire piece. Next up, we got Caitlin Karaman. We're going to speed by this because nobody likes Caitlin. Aha! Now I've got all the Caitlin fans in the comments. I knew you'd comment because of that. I can't go maniacal just yet. I still have more minifigures to get through. Anyway, this is Caitlin Karaman, though, in their disguised outfit. I did consider their Season 1 police uniform, never did it. This is because this was actually the last minifigure I did, not by choice. After, the first, I think, 4 minifigures I did, I set up a wheel that I would spin to decide which minifigure I'd do next. That's why Jace was, the original Jace was one of the last ones I did, because the wheel just never spun him. I also did, all my Victors all at once, because it just kept doing Victor after Victor after Victor, all at the end, and it was like, God. And Caitlin also ended up in that line of just not getting hit. I got Season 2 Caitlin done, and then I had Season 1 Caitlin still there on the wheel, and they were the last one to be picked. I used the same head for all Caitlin minifigures, which is to say 2. And now we're moving on to the next guy. I don't remember his name. Singed, there we go, Singed. This one was very simple, and that's because I don't like Singed. And when I rolled Singe on the wheel, I was like, I don't want to do this, man. Do I have to do this? Yeah, I have to do this. Do I have to do it in good faith? No. There is a armor piece that I think would work better for him, and that's the one from Ninjago Hunted, Season 9, and it's the one that they would have used for the Iron Baron. I'm going to put an image on screen in case you don't know what I'm talking about, but this in, magenta or whatever that color is, would be great. But they don't have it in Mecha Bricks, which becomes a consistent problem. They don't have the pieces I need in Mecha Bricks. These are old pieces. Why are they not there? Now we have Silco. Fun fact, one of the Discord servers I'm in with my sister's friends, don't ask, they all went crazy over Silco. Which is why when I spun the wheel and got Silco, I was like, alright guys, which version of Silco should I make? Without the coat or with the coat? And they were all unanimous, with the coat. Put him with the coat. And I'm like, okay, fine, I'll put him with the coat, even though he shows up more often without the coat. It's fine. Trying to get the eye scar was also a long process. You wouldn't believe how many different iterations we ended up doing with just the eye. Trying to get that to look right. I don't know why I said we. It's just me. Overall, I think it was really nice. I really liked making the tie. That was probably my favorite part of this, honestly, just because it was a really nice looking tie. Moving on, we have Vander. It was weird doing Vander. I didn't actually make leg printing for him. I just yoinked that off of another minifigure. Yeah, Vander was astoundingly simple. He does look a little weird, given that he's supposed to be beefier than normal. And you can't really do that with Lego minifigures, and I'm definitely not going to do a big fig. Next up, we have Rennie. This one was actually not one that I spun on the wheel. This one was asked specifically of me by, again, someone in my sister's friend Discord server. I think it turned out pretty alright. I feel like, looking back, I could have made them a bit more detailed or texturized. But granted, I was using the League of Legends character model reference instead of... Actually, it might be Teamfight Tactics. I don't know. I don't play the game. But I was using the reference sheets from a game instead of from the show. And that's mainly because trying to find good images from the show was near impossible. Alright, next up is Victor. This was another one that was late into the process making. But I actually really like how it turned out. The leg brace ended up looking really nice, and I also really like how the torso came out and that suit design. It was complex, but also just really nice looking. Moving on, I also really like the crutch design I gave him. I think that just fits really well. I considered putting a flat stud on the bottom of the crutch, but I feel like that would have pushed it down just a bit too much, and so it's no longer even. So at least this way it gives the illusion of being even. I did not try and build this in actual minifigure form because I don't think I can. I'm 90% sure that the actual bottom crutch piece that I used, while it looks good, is breaking minifigure parts. But I don't know, and I'm not going to check. Next up, we have Mel Medarda. Trying to find a good hairpiece for this minifigure was incredibly difficult. And I ended up merging other pieces because, that's really all I could do. And this is also where I found out recently that Lego actually does have a bunch of black hair pieces. Mechabricks doesn't. Once again, this is another one that probably could have used arm printing, at least for like the gold detailing on the shoulders. I didn't do it. My mind is not all there. Anyways, we're going to be moving on to Survivor Jace. And I call this one Survivor Jace because he looks like he just came straight out of hell. This is actually one of the first minifigures I actually designed. And once again, the render here is inaccurate because I did update it so that he had light gray line art instead of black line art. And it looks really nice. Problem is you can't see it because I used the wrong render for the image because I didn't bother to take a new rendered image. You can always see the most updated version on Mechabricks by looking up Happy097 or by looking up Arcane and then looking for the account Happy097. I did really like how this piece came out. It is intended to be exactly, at least the coat is meant to be the same relatively line out as the coat used on Counselor Jace, and that's because I wanted it to have a sort of level of similarity. I wanted it to look the same. I wanted it to, you know, be something that you can look at and you can go, oh yeah, that's the same outfit, just now it's more degraded. Moving on to Ambessa. Now, once again, they didn't actually have the right piece here, but I did find a hairpiece that looks relatively similar to what Ambessa actually looked like, and so I went ahead and used that. You wouldn't really notice from a distance, you know. And also, I did make two different heads. So, the first head has, you know, normal expression, angry expression, and the second head has the exact same expressions, but I put a mask over it. And this is because it was specially requested of me to include the mask. This figure actually almost got me to quit making these because trying to get all the intricate details in that battle armor into the design nearly killed me. I was on the verge, man.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa! That's too damn bad!
Yeah, overall I like the figure. I like how it came out. Probably could have done better with the arms, but other than that, I think it all came out very well. Now on to everyone's favorite child, Isha. We all love Isha, and we all should love Isha. Isha is amazing. I'm gonna sneeze soon. I considered doing the normal Isha design as well as the Jinx Isha design, and then I thought to myself, I'm not motivated enough for that, man. I think it ended up looking really nice, and I like how it all together looks. That's really all I have to say on that matter. I liked it. It's cool. Let's hope she doesn't explode. Moving on to Enforcer Vi. This is very simple, actually. All the Enforcer uniforms are relatively simple to make, purely because they're Enforcer uniforms. I actually had Loris on my list, but I didn't do Loris because I got lazy. This is around the point where I stopped doing the pixelated faces. I also do like the gas mask that I made. The gas mask looks awesome. Enforcer Vi is also the only one that came with a gas mask. None of the others I remembered to include it with. Maddie, everyone's favorite character. I can't think of a single person who dislikes Maddie. That's a lie. Everyone hates Maddie. Actually, that's a lie too. There are people who like Maddie. I've seen them in the Arcane Discord server. No, I'm not giving you a link to that. I don't care. But I do have my own Discord server right here. I don't know why I did this. The link's not going to appear on screen. It's going to be in the description. So, go down to the description below. That's where you'll find a link. But this is Maddie. I did like the overall like armor design of Maddie's costume. It looked really cool and it was really nice to actually implement. And also the face was astoundingly easy and I don't know why. It still looks like one of the best faces that I have here. Again, don't know why. It just does. Moving on to Pit Fighter Vi. Everyone loves the Pit Fighter Vi arc. You know, it was amazing. Unfortunately, it was also very difficult to make into an actual minifigure form, because that means I actually have to pay attention to minifigure anatomy, and that's weird. So, I got away with as much of it as I can. The actual jacket ended up looking really cool, and I really like how it came out. I did notice while working on it that there are some discrepancies between the version I was actually using and the version, well, as like a reference, and the version that actually appeared in the show. It should be mentioned I don't have a Netflix account. I watched it at home at my parents' house, and then I went back to college. Moving on to AU Powder. This was actually a fun minifigure to make. I did like making this minifigure. This is once again just the wheel spinning something. If you can't tell, by the way, it's not fully in order. I tried to order it just a little bit, and then I decided to give up on that. AU Powder, though, this was fun. Once again, the hair is ruined by the fact that the perfect hairpiece exists. It's right there. But Mechabricks didn't add the piece, and so I can't use it. Overall, I think the rest of the figure came out well. Once again, I didn't have any good reference images, so I was kind of holding my breath and praying that the cosplay sites were accurate. Because if they aren't, I'm done for. Like, I don't know if her actual uniform was mostly greenish or dark green. I hope it was, because that would mean I was right. If it's not, I'm done for. Oh, but Happy, why didn't you do, the dance scene version of AU Powder? That's the version people would have wanted to see. Yeah, and that also would have been smart. If you can't tell by now, I'm not. Moving on to everyone's favorite character. Objectively, the best character in the show. Huck. I'm kidding. Again, obviously. I'm laden with sarcasm. Why? Because I'm bored. This is, again, just sort of a resoundingly easy one to do, purely on the basis of there isn't much with him. It's also why I didn't do leg printing. I just couldn't bring myself to care. And it's also why he only has one facial expression, too. I couldn't bring myself to care. See this render where he has a different facial expression? Yeah, that was edited. He didn't have that facial expression when I took the rendered image. I just didn't want to make another face for him. Huck also kind of just meant to be a generic follower, if I'm being honest. Like, I wasn't actually planning on making a bunch of follower minifigures. I was like, you know what, I'll just make Huck, call it a day. People can reuse the face for whatever they want. Find a good mummy body, put it on there, bam. You've got yourself another random follower. Get a different hairpiece, another random follower. Couldn't include the blonde highlights that Victor just loves to give people, though. Speaking of Victor, here is the Machine Herald himself. This render does not do justice to what he actually looks like, purely because the staff covers up almost everything, and also the lighting's bad. But don't worry, I have other rendered images to show you, like these ones here. Woo! Yay! I really do like the face and how the face came out. I think that really was some of my best work. You're going to see how this was an evolution, actually, from another version of Victor I did, where I didn't get the colors right. And you'll see that soon, don't worry. But we're going to be moving on because we have to. I do hope you like the details, though. The robe took way too long. Then we have Finale Jinx. I really liked making Finale Jinx, and I don't know why. It just looked nice, though it took an awfully long time to make. I like the leg printing. I also like making the little chopper grenades on the legs. They're not technically grenades, because Lego's not going to allow grenades to appear on a Lego minifigure. They're spray cans. As in, they spray destruction and mayhem. The actual minigun itself is included in the model if you go on Mechabricks. It's actually really big and took way too long to make. I was looking at the U2's figure for reference because, again, no good reference images. Reference images for, like, the legs, because there's no good image of that, I had to use fan art. I also had to do that for Survivor Jace, but still, I was using fan art as my reference images, because I just couldn't find any. That's bad. And then we have Savika in their finale outfit. If you're wondering where's normal Savika, I didn't properly move them, and so they're farther up ahead. This is finale Savika. Again, not too much to say about it. Trying to get the chomper hand was near difficult, as in impossible. I can't do it. I tried, trust me. And so we're going to have to live with the fact that Savika doesn't have a chomper hand, but instead has whatever this weird amalgamation thing is. Moving on, because we need to start flipping through this faster. Finale Echo. I actually did really like making this minifigure. Trying to get the owl mask to turn into a knee thing was incredibly difficult. I wanted to make it the same size as his head, but that would make it take up the entire leg, and so I just couldn't do that. Anyways, moving on, even faster. Move. Alright, we got Finale Mel. This one actually has a lot more of the nice gold details. You can really see it come into play here. You can also see I messed up the hips. I didn't even realize that until now, actually. Oh god, I messed those up. Those are way too big. But I can't do anything about it now. Is this the proper hairpiece to be using? No. Is there a better hairpiece that exists? Yes. Does it exist in Mechabricks? No. Alright, and then here's one I was saying. You see how I messed up the coloring for Future Victor? Here you go. I messed up the coloring on Future Victor and just made him purple. I didn't know he was purple. I'm sorry. I do really like how the goatee itself turned out, though, and, just the rest of the face. I do think it looks really nice. It's just not accurate. This is one of the low-effort ones. I do like the staff, though. I think the staff turned out nice. And now we have normal Savika, because, again, I messed up the order. Normal Savika, again, not much to say. I like the arm. I think the arm came out really nice. And I also kind of like how the entire rest of the body looks. Midriff is a bit weird, but who am I to judge? Echo had a weird midriff, too. which I forgot to mention. It makes me laugh every time I see it, though. And obviously you can see I didn't laugh because I didn't see it. Then we have Caitlyn in their finale arc, I guess. Technically, it doesn't really change. Like, she becomes a dictator, and she doesn't change out of the outfit. She just gets a cape. Who am I to judge, you know? People have different styles. People like different things. I'm not going to judge them. Did I include a version of Caitlyn with an eye patch? No. You have to pay me for that. And by pay me, I mean get this video to 200 likes. Then we have one of the Evolved. I don't know what they're actually supposed to be called, so I've just been calling them the Evolved. If they go by another name, I'm sorry. I don't know it. Yeah, this is just meant to be a generic foot soldier kind of character. I'm not going to make different variations of this. I did want to include, like, the halo thing that some of them have, but I physically can't because no such piece exists that looks like that, and I can't model pieces. I'm not going to do that because I can't. We have Jace in their finale outfit. This is still probably one of my favorite pieces. One of, not the. Just because I really liked all the detail that went into it, and just overall how it looks. Yes, Jace, we see the fit. I like the armor. I think the armor came out very nice, as well as just the general sort of trench coat design that he has. And yeah, I do wish that I could have given him like actual armor pieces for like the shoulder pad armor that he had, because it is thick and it should be not printed on, but rather its own separate piece. But no piece exists that looks like that, so I'm not gonna bother. Yeah, with that completed, I think that means that now we're done. Yippee! Yoo-hoo! If you're hoping for some, like, spreadsheet like they would do for, like, minifigure series, like the checklist with all the minifigures on it, I'm not making that, man. This was like, what, 25 characters? 29 minifigures. I almost did 30 of these figures. A normal minifigure series has 12. This is the equivalent of almost 3 minifigure series. But I'm glad that you enjoyed it, because I know you did, because you watched it all the way to the end. You wouldn't watch all the way to the end if you didn't enjoy something, would you? Would you? That's a good question. Comment down below if you hated this. I've been watching too much Mr. Pancake. I think that I can get away with low funny jokes and a general monochromatic tone. Monochromatic tone, I am losing it. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this, get help. But also, if you'd like to see more of stuff like this, my good friend Oddsock has just posted a video about his adventures as the Kettle Boy in Lethal Company. So, if you'd like to go see that, go ahead and go over and show him some love on his video. Alright, was that good enough? Will you let my family go now?